turkey here. Anybody stuffed from Thanksgiving? Still stuffed from Thanksgiving? It's kind of funny. I'm always fascinated at this time of year because we do horrible things to ourselves. And we say we're celebrating. And then we feel awful. And then we go, well, I'm going to do it again. You know, you got Thanksgiving and then Christmas parties and then Christmas and then New Year's. So we have a series of at least 4 or 5 things that we do in a row to make ourselves sick. Which makes no sense to me. And birthdays are the same way. I was thinking about birthdays too. It's like I'm going to have a cake for my birthday. Like what's like some of the worst things you can put in your body? Sugar, flour, hydrogenated oil, high fructose corn syrup, lard sometimes, artificial dyes and chemicals. And we're going to celebrate with that. That makes no sense to me. So people always say, I mean, on my show, somebody called up the other day and they said, what did you have for Thanksgiving? And I said, I had everything but the bad stuff. And it's very simple. I mean, there's plenty of food at Thanksgiving. There's plenty of food at Christmas. And you just have to make better choices. And that's what it really is all about, is making better choices. So if you stuff yourself, there's a couple of problems with this. Number one, chances are you ate too much bad food. Number two is your stomach is only about this big. How many people ate this much food at Thanksgiving? Now your stomach can stretch. And your stomach will stretch a little bit, it's like a balloon, but eventually a balloon can only hold so much, right? And that's what happens with your stomach. And there's different foods that go into your stomach. There's proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. Fats get broken down in the, mainly in the small intestine, where your gallbladder spits out bile, and then your pancreas releases digestive enzymes to break down fats. And that happens in your small intestine. Your stomach's job is essentially to break down proteins into something called amino acids. Then that goes into your small intestine, where your pancreas releases amylase, lipase, and protease, digestive enzymes to break down fats, proteins, and carbohydrates. Then your gallbladder squirts some bile in there to break down the fat some more. And then at that point, we start absorbing nutrients. Well, if your stomach is so full, it can't work. Because the way the stomach works is it releases pepsin, pepsinogen, hydrochloric acid, and that starts breaking down the proteins into amino acids. But the way it does it is it has something called peristalsis. It massages the food, essentially, and mixes it with the digestive enzymes, or the enzymes. And what happens is, if the stomach is so full, it can't mix it. So the food sits in your stomach too long. And the food sits in your stomach too long, it rots. And when food rots, it gives off lactic acid. Now, lactic acid is not a good thing. It's rotten food. And that's why many times after a big meal, you start having acid reflux, burping. That acid coming up isn't so much stomach acid, it's a lot of lactic acid. It's rotten food. Pretty neat. That acid can burn your esophagus, and if you burn your esophagus for too long, you can have abnormal cell growth. And what do you call abnormal cell growth? Cancer. So very often, I'll have patients, and I've known people that have died of esophageal cancer from acid reflux. Wow. Now if we give you antacids, it'll neutralize the stomach acid. Sounds like a good idea. It's a problem. What does stomach acid do? Digest proteins into amino acids, right? So now you can't digest your food. And therein lies the problem. So if you can't digest your food properly, because your stomach is so full, it's not mixing the food with the digestive enzymes. So a lot of what you're doing when you eat too much is a physical problem and a chemical problem, not just a chemical problem. Make sense? So, here's the trick. Here's how you stop this. Because you want to learn how you stop it, right? You have to ruin your appetite. You have to stop eating so much. And it takes 20 minutes to get the message from your stomach to your brain. Your stomach releases a chemical called leptin. Leptin gets into the blood, goes up to the brain, I think it hooks into the hypothalamus, and says, I'm full. Well, if you're eating nonstop for 20 minutes, your stomach is this, it's too late, exactly. Your stomach is this big, and then finally leptin gets to your brain. You say, oh my God, I'm so full. We've done that, right? Eat, and all of a sudden, boom, it hits you. Oh my God, how did I get this full? The leptin wasn't getting up to the brain. Now it is. So if we do this simple trick, and you should do this every day of your life actually, it's a neat little trick. I want you to ruin your appetite before every meal. So if you're a ravenous eater, and you know you can't control yourself, every time you have a meal, about 20 minutes before, have a handful of nuts, have an avocado, have something heavy, fats, coconut oil, take a tablespoon of coconut oil. 20 minutes later, you're not going to eat as much. And then you can make better choices. So you got to be prepared. And you get prepared by eating the right food. You eat the right food, but not too much of it, by ruining your appetite. And it's very easy to do. So a couple of handfuls of nuts, very nice trick. It's simple, it's easy, it's quick, it's cheap. Try to do organic nuts if you can. If they're roasted, when they roast them, the oil changes its molecular structure. Okay, it can become a hydrogenated oil. So raw nuts would be better than roasted nuts. Roasted nuts are better than steak and milkshakes. So, steak and milkshake, roasted nuts, I'll go with the roasted nuts, okay? And any type of nut is fine except peanuts. Peanuts, unless they're Valencia peanuts, have a fungus on them called a mycotoxin. Mycotoxin can cause a lot of allergic reactions. That's why so many people are allergic to peanuts. Why not cashews? Why not almonds? Peanuts grow underground. They're not really nuts, they're legumes. And they have fungus. Every time you come to a lecture, how many lectures have you been to?
I didn't know you say that.
I saved that. I didn't want to give you everything at once. A little bit of time, okay? Also, peanuts are high in arginine. Why is that bad? Well, arginine can be good. Arginine converts into your nitric oxide, which opens up your blood vessels. It's a vasodilator, which is good for all parts of your body. Brain, your heavy parts. Everything needs good circulation. So nitric oxide can come from arginine to open up the blood vessels. The problem is this. If you have the herpes virus in your body, and there's also types of herpes viruses. You know about, oral, genital shingles, but there's other kinds as well. And that's where a lot of problems come in if you have a weak immune system. Well, off on a tangent for a second here. People with AIDS. One of the big problems with people with AIDS, weak immune system, is they have herpes outbreaks. Because the immune system is so weak it can't suppress the viruses. Now viruses are kind of weird. Viruses aren't alive and they aren't dead. So we don't really, it's kind of this world unto itself. It can only reproduce if it hooks onto into your genes and can reproduce within the cell, and then it kills the cell. And then it has to get into another cell and reproduce there. So it really hooks onto you, or else it dies. But it's not really alive. It's kind of weird. I remember when I was first studying this, that doesn't make sense, but it does now in my brain. Arginine can cause herpes cause herpes outbreaks. And what's interesting too, a lot of times at the holidays we eat weird things. We eat peanut brittle, we'll eat peanuts. When the Braves are in town, it's always funny, patients will come in and say, Doc, I got herpes at the Braves game. Hey, what you do with the Braves, none of my business. Right? So, but what do we eat at the Braves game? We don't normally eat peanuts, circus, peanuts. It's not something a lot of people eat every day, but on special occasions they will, and they'll have outbreaks. So you got to be careful with peanuts because of those several reasons. The mycotoxins as well as the arginine, which can stimulate the herpes. Okay? Now lysine can suppress the herpes, but if it starts to break out, sometimes it can be a little too late. Little trick if you have herpes anywhere in your body. I'm going off on a tangent here. I'll come back to peanuts in a second. Okay? Garlic. Eating it as well as rubbing it on the surface. So if you have an outbreak, cut garlic slice, rub it on the area. As soon as you start to feel a tingle. Shingles, genital, oral, rub it on. The garlic is antibiotic, antiviral, and antifungal. Not many things are antiviral. That's where the problem comes in. And so garlic is a neat little trick for you there. So you can do it internally as well as externally. All right? Fun fact, back to peanuts. So if you're going to eat nuts, nuts are good except for peanuts. Don't eat peanuts. If you're going to eat peanuts, don't. But if you do, organic only. Anything that grows underground, you want to consider organic to eat. Why? Because the soil gets saturated year after year after year of soaking up these toxins, and if it grows underground, it's sucking it right in. So if you can eat potatoes, carrots, rutabagas, I don't know why anyone would do that. Peanuts, you want to make sure they're organic. Okay, pretty cool. So ruining your appetite is going to be a big player when the parties come around. Now when I go to a party, I changed my mindset a long time ago. I've been a vegan for 30 years now. But I changed my mindset. My mindset is, instead of going to the party and wondering what food there's going to be, I go to the party and what kind of fun can I have? What kind of people will I meet? What kind of socializing will I do? Changing your mindset changes everything. So while all the little piglets are around the trough, eating up all the stuff, you're out having a good time, meeting your friends, socializing, and enjoying the camaraderie. Not so worried about what's at the trough. Okay, down at the radio station, we have a counter. That's probably about this long. And we call it the trough. And anybody has any food, leave it there, it's gone. It's like mystery. This good. But it's not good food that's right there, unfortunately. So, another problem comes up the holidays is alcohol. Alcohol destroys what? Brain cells, right? How many people knew that? How many people forgot that? Alcohol destroys brain cells. Your brain controls what? Everything. I'm a chiropractor. My job is to make sure your nervous system is working the best it can, chemically and physically. So physically, of course, we look for bones out of place, pinching nerves. We put the bones back in place, unpinch the nerves. Feels good when you get adjusted. It opens up the nerves and pain goes away. However, 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. You don't feel your gallbladder, your spleen, your blood pressure, your kidneys, your cholesterol, your eyeballs, your toenails. All controlled by nerves. So when I evaluate a patient, my team of doctors and I, we check the nerves that feel pain, but we also check the 90% of the nerves that don't feel pain. Because they're the nerves going to the organs. And if we take you on as a patient, we want to get you well, not just out of pain. We actually want to get you well. We want to get to the cause of the problem, not just treat the symptoms. So physically, we check everybody's spine. There's 206 bones in the body. We can check any bone in the body and put it back in place. However, we have to look at the chemistry as well. And that's really what separates us from a lot of other healthcare providers, is we're going to look at the chemical, the physical, and the digestion. And digestion we kind of brushed on a little bit. I'll go back to that in a second. Alcohol destroys your brain cell. Your brain controls everything. So the more alcohol you drink, more brain cells you kill. Most of us can't afford to do that. You don't want to destroy your brain cells. They're kind of important because they control everything. Alcohol is also diuretic, which means what? It makes you pee. That's right. Everybody notice this? You drink one beer, you pee out 3. Where does other 2 guilty? Where does other 2 beers come from? Your body is giving off, it's called vasopressin, okay, or antidiuretic hormone, and your brain produces it, and it prevents you from just peeing all day. When you drink alcohol, it shuts down your vasopressin, or your antidiuretic hormone, and it makes you pee. So the problem is you're trying to flush alcohol out of your system, but then you dehydrate. When you dehydrate, your brain shrinks. You don't want your brain shrinking. So if the body is smart enough to say, alcohol kill my brain cells, I got to get it out of here as quickly as possible. And that's why you pee so much. So don't drink. If you drink, don't. But if you do, make sure you're drinking 3 glasses of water for every 1 drink you have. Okay? A, you'll be peeing so much, you won't be drinking so much. And B, it'll keep you hydrated. And when you pee, it's not just water that's coming out. Vitamins, minerals, nutrients, B vitamins. I think next year, I think beginning of the year, I'm going to do a special show on hangover foods. I don't usually do that. I think I might do a special show. I've never done it before. I may do one just on hangover foods. I know them, but I'm not going to tell you. Okay, so, but I may do a special for that. Not fair, I don't want to know. So, alcohol, not a good idea, because it dehydrates you. And then you got to get up and pee so you can't even sleep. That's a problem too. So, here's the trick. You want to have something fun to drink at a party? Get yourself a fancy glass, whatever glass you like to hold, whether it's a wine glass or a champagne glass or a martini glass, and put some club soda in there. Fun fact, difference between soda, seltzer and club soda. Anybody know? Salt. Very good. Professional? Oh, no. Club soda has salt in it, seltzer doesn't. That's the difference. Okay, so if you're going to drink one or the other, I'd rather see you drink seltzer than club soda. If you have a choice. It's not going to kill you to have a glass of club soda, though. But, again, that should be your biggest sin, not just part of your sins. So, hold it. You can add a little splash of cranberry juice. Most cranberry juice is cranberry juice cocktail. Anybody ever drink real cranberry juice? Yeah. Tastes what? Awful, right? Nasty, isn't it? Yeah. But it works. And as I go off on a tangent, a lot of people drink cranberry juice for bladder infections. The reason is there's a chemical in cranberry juice that prevents the bacteria from sticking to your bladder and your urethral walls. And so it kind of flushes it out. That's why it works. But it tastes awful. So if you're going to drink pure cranberry juice, which I do recommend my patients do sometimes, you can mix it with a lot of water and you can add stevia to it if you want as a sweetener. Stevia is the only sweetener I'll let you use. Okay? So, but I digress. So you're holding your martini glass with a little sparkling water in there, and you put a shot of cranberry juice in it. Okay, that's your treat for tonight. That's it. Yes?
I took pumpkin cider. That was great. Everybody liked it.
Uh-huh.
They didn't do other things. They drank my cranberry cider.
Yeah, pumpkin cider's great. Yeah, it's still a lot of sugar, but it's a much better choice than the alcohol. Now the problem is, we're going to go into fructose now, I guess. We can do fructose now. There's a problem, because fructose, and that's what a lot of these juices are sweetened with, is high fructose corn syrup, or even if it's organic, 100% orange juice, still high in fructose. When fructose gets into your body, the body has to process that fructose and convert it into glucose. Glucose is the usable form of sugar that your cells use. So what are we going to do? We have to convert that. It converts into liver. When it gets into the liver, if you have too much fructose, about 25 grams a day your body can process. Anything beyond 25 grams converts into uric acid. Uric acid causes what? Gout, there you go. Plus gout. Now I'm a chiropractor. What do we like to do? We like to fix people in pain. And many times patients come see us, and I'll say, you have neck pain and back pain and shoulder pain and numbness and tingling, and I'll look at their diets as well, and I'll say, listen, you're sucking down diet sodas, regular sodas all day, every day, loaded with high fructose corn syrup. You got to stop it, because I can give you the best chiropractic care in the universe, but if you're sucking down too much fructose, it converts to uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. So we treat you as a patient. I want to treat the physical and the chemical, and I teach you how to treat the chemical. And then uric acid prevents nitric oxide production. Remember nitric oxide production? Arginine, peanuts, nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. So one of the big problems we're finding now, several reasons when people have high blood pressure, is if they're doing a lot of fructose, uric acid prevents nitric oxide, the blood vessels can't open up, and the blood blood vessels are tight, blood pressure goes up. Wow. So no more fructose. Zero. Okay? Now the other problem is if you eat a lot of sugar, the body produces insulin. Insulin takes the sugar and drives it into the cells, kind of carries it to the cells and drives it in. Insulin has a molecule of magnesium attached to it. Magnesium also relaxes your blood vessels. So if you're not getting in enough magnesium, and you're wasting your magnesium, so to speak, producing a lot of insulin, your magnesium levels drop, blood vessels stay tight, blood pressure goes up. So it's not just salt, it's sugar that can raise your blood pressure for two different reasons. Pretty nifty, huh? Okay, so back to the party. This is what I do at parties. People pin me in the corner and they ask me questions. I say, you don't want to talk. Tonight is not the night you want to hear from me, okay? Go out, have fun, we'll talk tomorrow. So when you're drinking, try to drink, like I said, water or something much more benign than what most people are drinking. Stay away from the fruit juices and certainly the cranberry juices and high fructose corn syrup, and you're going to feel a lot better. And ruin your appetite as well. So you got to get prepared. Another thing we need to do is, it's cold out, and it's rainy out, and it's yucky out, and we don't want to go out. So we don't get as much exercise as we normally do during the holiday season. So here's the trick. We should get these, Sharon. We should look into getting pedometers. Like give them out at lectures, make people show up, Yeah. And they're really cheap. I mean, you can buy a fancy one for like $5. But get a pedometer, put it on your belt, and every time you take a step, it measures that step. And your goal is going to be 10,000 steps a day. Now, the reason I want you to get a pedometer to do this is because you have to be held accountable. And I promise you, when I wear my pedometer, I walk more. When I don't, I don't. Because I keep looking down, 4,000 steps, 6,000 steps, it's already 3 o'clock, I gotta get moving. And you think, how can I do this? I gotta start moving, and you'll get your 10,000 steps. Okay? So pedometers are really cool. They're really cheap. Now there's a problem, sometimes phones have pedometers in them. You can get apps for them, and every time you step, your phone counts that step. Problem is, it's a cell phone. Cell phones, anybody listen to my show last week? Okay, what did I talk about? Cell phones, right?
Yeah.
I did a whole show, 2 hours on cell phones almost. Very, very dangerous. Okay, you have a cell phone with you? Can I use you as an example? You want to come up here? It's okay. No? Anybody want to come up? Any volunteers? I just want to show you what this does to you. Come on. Sit up front, I'll teach you. Okay, put your arms straight out. This way. Push up toward the sky. Okay, nice and strong. Now, cell phones produce something called non-ionizing electromagnetic frequencies. That's a lot of words, isn't it? It's radiation, basically, but it's not the kind of radiation that comes out of an X-ray machine. When it gets into your body, it can actually affect your nervous system. And years ago, I remember doing a report on it, and I was saying if you put a cell phone next to your ear, it can increase your risk of brain tumors, astrocytomas, and gliomas, which is brain cancer. And my IT guy said, you're crazy, you don't know what the heck you're talking about. Guess what? I was right. I was wrong. The new research is very clear. When you put a cell phone next to your ear, it's very dangerous. Okay? So let's see what happens when we introduce an electromagnetic frequency into the body. Just hold it right there. Put your arm up. Push it up real hard. Push it up real hard. Isn't that freaky? Thank you. So it blows out your whole electrical system. Okay? So if you have a cell phone, don't keep it next to your body. That's right. Don't let her use the cell phone. Good. All right. The baby over there for those people watching the video. Yeah.
What about Bluetooth technology?
Worse.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh darn. Yeah, those wireless ones are worse. If you're going to talk on a cell phone, I'm cool with it. Get yourself an earpiece. Earbuds. There you go. I just bought one the other day. It's a noise canceling. It was $6, I think. Okay. You put it in. It clogs up your ear, so it really prevents noise from coming in, and it works great. I only put one in though at a time. Why? I want to be able to hear around me. What if somebody comes up behind me and says, "Hey, watch out"? Okay, or "Hey, there's a car coming," or "Hey, there's an ambulance behind you." Only put one piece in, and have the speaker on it. Then put the phone next to you. It's a much better choice. Okay. We also talked about the cell phones and non-ionizing radiation for the cell phones. They've done studies where you put it next to the brain. Babies' skulls are thinner than adults. Their brains heat up very, very fast. And you don't want to heat up the brain because it causes abnormal cell growth in the brain. So, I know I'm going off on a tangent again, but you know me. So, we go off on tangents. So, cell phone's not a good idea. And if it has a pedometer in it, then you're going to put it next to your body. I had one guy call in last week, and he says he's a truck driver. When he's out of range, when he's far away, and it's near his body actually hurts. Where his phone is, if it's in his pocket, and he says, "What do you think that is, Doc?" I said, the less bars you have, the more electromagnetic frequency you're going to get. So don't use your cell phone unless you have lots of bars. Teaching you all new stuff. See, I always got to give you new stuff. So more bars, better off you're going to be. Low bars, don't use it. Don't keep it next to your body. Before I started tonight, one of my patients came in the back and she said, "Dr. Joe, I got something to tell you. I heard you talk about cell phones last week." I said, "Yeah." And she's a black woman, and she says, "I was getting my hair done the other day," and she said there was another lady in the shop a couple of days earlier, and they were putting the chemicals on the hair to straighten out the hair, and she was on the cell phone. They rushed her to the emergency room, and they couldn't figure out what it was, but apparently the electromagnetic radiation drove the chemicals into the brain, and she had to go to the emergency room. Okay. So, another fun fact, the chemicals are bad enough. Putting the chemicals next to your brain is a bad thing, but putting the phone next to it, I'd never heard that before. She just told me about 10 minutes ago. So, pretty cool. Okay, well, 30 minutes ago. So pretty cool. So don't use your cell phone, especially as a pedometer. Just buy one, hook it on your belt, walk around, you'll do much better. Okay? So you got to start thinking preparedness. I sort of studied the other day, I want to talk more about keeping your pedometer on. I also want you to weigh yourself. I want you to weigh yourself every day. And the reason is this. You know why. If I'm going to put on 2-3 pounds, I'm going to go, I don't think I'm fat. Look in the mirror. I look great. Because I'm a guy. And whenever guys look in the mirror, they go, we look great. We got a love machine. But what happens is if you weigh yourself, you're not held accountable. Oh my gosh, I gained 2 pounds last week. I gained 3 pounds last week. I got to stop. And now you have a way to kind of monitor yourself too. So keeping a pedometer and weighing yourself is a real good way to keep an eye on things, to monitor yourself. The study I just saw this year was kind of interesting. They had two groups, similar groups, and one group was fed the same size dinner, two similar sized dinners. One was fed family style with the foods put on the table, and one was fed buffet style. Which group do you think ate more? Buffet. The buffet style was a crazy amount too, like 3,000 calories more or something like that. I mean, don't quote me on the exact number. It was a crazy number. Because when you, I'm sorry, the other way around. The family, which one was higher? Family style was higher. I'm sorry, I had it backwards. Thank you. The family style because you didn't get up. The family style because you didn't get up. All the food was there and you just kept reaching and reaching and reaching. The buffet, you got to get up and do it. And so if you're going to have a party, have the buffet style. Because people will get up 1 or 2 times and they'll say, I'm stopped. In family style, you're just eating like crazy. And again, the number was crazy. You know, a lot of calories more. Okay, so that's just a neat little trick you can do too. And then people have to serve themselves. You also want to make sure you're hydrated. Because when you were a baby, a little baby that was just here, part of the baby's brain controls hunger, and part of the baby's brain controls thirst. And so the baby's young, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty, bring a sippy cup with you all the time, and the baby's going to be happy. As we become toddlers, the two parts of the brain grow together. And so now you have a tough time distinguishing between hunger and thirst. Now if you drink water, there's not a lot of pleasure in water, is there? But if you ate cookies or ice cream or donuts or breads or pastas, these sugars stimulate the pleasure centers in the brain, the dopamine receptor sites, and you get high. And so if you're thinking, I need something, I don't know if it's water or if it's food, cookies are going to get me high, water isn't, I'm going to get high. And you choose the high one all the time, okay? And so you got to be careful with that. Because you want to make sure you're well hydrated constantly. I mean always, not just for the holiday seasons, but always. Make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated. Okay? You don't know what to eat, you're at let's say you have baked potatoes. Well, I don't know what to put on my baked potato. You can put salsa on your baked potato. You can put stir-fried mushrooms, stir-fried onions on your baked potato. You can put air-dried sea salt on your baked potato and eat it that way. Somebody called up the other day on the show, and they said, Dr. Joe, what about these sports drinks? Are they a good idea? And I said, no. The reason is sometimes they have sugar, sometimes they have artificial sweetener, which is worse than sugar, and then sometimes, and many times they have dyes in them. You ever see the colors of some of these sports drinks? Fluorescent blue. George Carlin said there is no blue food. Okay? He was right. Even blueberries are purple. So don't eat blue food is what George Carlin said. I have to agree with the great George Carlin on that fact there anyway. So if you're going to use salt, I said you want to make your own drink. You can do half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon of Himalayan sea salt and water. Shake it up. Over 70 minerals to replace those vital nutrients that you're losing. And you're going to get water in it, and you replace the sodium to it. So air-dried sea salt, absolutely positively, everybody should be using on a daily basis. So you could just put salt on your potato and try it that way. You might actually like it. And what's cool is when you use salt, like air-dried sea salt or Himalayan salt, which is, one type of air-dried sea salt, is salt causes your salivary glands to produce saliva. Saliva has in it something called salivary amylase. Salivary amylase breaks down carbohydrates and makes things taste sweeter. So if you ever wondered why we put salt when we're baking cookies or cakes, now you know what. It makes them taste sweeter. That was years ago when we used something called sugar. In the old days, we used sugar. Remember sugar was bad? Sugar's not so bad anymore. We got high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, agave nectar, which has more fructose than high fructose corn syrup. Wow, I know you meant. So, people always get mad at me when I say that. Agave nectar, oh my gosh, I heard that it was good for you. It's not. It doesn't spike your blood sugar. You know why it doesn't spike your blood sugar? Because it's fructose. Fructose gets processed where? In the liver. Converted to glucose. Then the body produces insulin to release it and carry it to the cells. So you eat, agave nectar, you check your blood sugar. It's not that high. Why? Take some time. So agave nectar is worse than high fructose corn syrup. It's not a health food. Just because it's sold in a health food store doesn't mean it's health food. Okay. Another thing too, I'm a vegan, I don't know how many of you are, but the trend now is there's a lot of vegan restaurants and vegetarian restaurants opening up, which I think is the coolest thing in the world. I think it's wonderful and I support that. However, they're serving a lot of processed foods. Just because it doesn't have meat or dairy products in it doesn't mean it's healthy. A friend of mine out in California, we talk about this a lot. Say, oh Joey, he'll call me out, his name is Johnny, he says, Joey, I gotta confess. He says, I had soy meatballs and I had seitan and I had tofu burgers. And so, just because it's vegetarian or just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean it's good for you. So be careful with that, because a lot of people think, well, I'm eating all this, these chicken nuggets that are soy. Not a good idea. Okay? And notice how you feel, too. And that's a really simple way to do it, is notice how you feel. The problem with that statement is this. People don't know what it's like to feel good. Every day in my practice, I've been in practice for 30 years. I've missed a half a day of work in 30 years. And I hit my head, I was dizzy. My staff made me go home. And that was it. So it's like most people don't know what it's like to feel good. So in 100% of the cases, when patients come into my office, or if you just follow my nutrition advice, radio show listeners, they start changing their diets, little bits, here and there. And then if we had something like chiropractic care to get the nervous system working, and then we'll talk about the stomach up against the diaphragm, so I talk about that in every lecture, I think. And they say, Doc, I had no idea this is what good felt like. I've never had somebody change their diet and or take supplements that I recommend and say, you know what, I felt worse. Ever. 100%, 30 years. No one's ever said I'm worse. So why not try it and see if you can be the first one? You won't be. I'm right, but I don't care. You can try it. And you'll save so much money. Cheaper being vegetarian. So much cheaper. So much better for you. Don't have to scrub the stove. Don't have to scrub the pots. There's no downside to eating better, except that a lot of that junk tastes good, doesn't it? My 7 deadly sins, right? Alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. They all taste good. And we think, well, I'm just going to put this in my body and see what happens. Before I came here tonight, I was at home, and one of my plants that I have in my house was starting to die. Why is this plant dying? I couldn't figure it out. So I picked it up, it was awfully heavy. Well, I got stupid and watered it too much. So I dumped the water out, and it stunk. You remember the rotten plant smell, So I dumped it out, trimmed off the dead leaves, and the plant will be fine. So it's a good lesson. Plants need a certain amount of water and a certain amount of nutrients in order to work properly, to grow properly. Guess what? You do too. And for some reason, and I don't understand why, most people will think I'm different. I can live off alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. My body is doing fine. It can't. You can't put water in your gas tank and expect the engine to run. You can't put sugar in your gas tank and expect the engine to run. And yet for some reason we don't think that our body has some core nutrient needs. And it does. And so you have to give your body the core nutrients, which leads me now into how we can control our appetites. If you're giving your body food, let me back up. When you're hungry, you're not hungry for food. You're hungry for nutrition. Food is a conduit for nutrition. Okay, food is also a conduit for alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and sweetener. So your body's saying, I want food, I'm hungry, and you have to override your brain and say, okay, I'm only going to give you good food. And when you do that, you'll eat so much less. Because let's assume we're going to have a typical Thanksgiving dinner. With the turkey, the mashed potatoes, and all the sweet potato casseroles and everything. And your body says, that was great. But what happens after a big meal like that in a couple hours? Come back for seconds, right? You just ate this much food. Your stomach is this big. And yet you're eating again in a couple of hours. Why is that? Your brain is saying, dude, that was a lot of food. But that wasn't what I wanted. I want nutrients. And so that's when you have to start thinking, if I give myself all the good nutrients to start, A, I'm going to be full, and B, I'm not going to have that bloated feeling. I'll be able to digest my food and absorb the nutrients. Too much, remember the stomach can't churn and mix the foods up together. So, we have to do something that's smart. So what I do before, I did it before the lecture today, before I do a radio show, before I'm going on a date, before I'm going to work out, I take the super greens and the essential source. Now if you don't know what those are, I have to put my plug in now. About 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin in one scoop of this. If you were going to buy 10 servings of raw fruits and vegetables, it would cost you a lot more. This is about maybe $1 a scoop, a little less probably. You could spend a lot more money than you would with this. And this has the prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and a complete multivitamin. It doesn't go bad. You don't have to go shopping for it. It tastes good. Okay? So I take this every single day, at least once a day. Today I took it twice. Most people eat a bad diet and their bodies become acidic. Cells like to function at a certain level. If you did your first morning urine, and this is a good little test we should do, is get some pH paper, it's real cheap, and pee on it first thing in the morning. And it's going to have a color. The color's going to come up. Look at the color chart, compare the color chart to what your pH is. Your morning urine should be 6.5 to 7.0. Don't worry about the numbers, what they mean. Lower the number, the worse. 7, good. Too high, alkalosis. I've never met anybody in alkalosis, ever. 30 years of practice. Everybody's too acidic. This is great to alkalize the system. It's also a great source of iodine. Most people don't get enough iodine in their diet. Every cell in your body requires iodine. We don't know why every cell in your body requires iodine, but we know that the cells have iodine receptor sites, which means they can receive iodine. So this is a great source of iodine. It's a great source of omega-3 fatty acids as well. Because I don't eat animal products, so I have to get my omega-3 fatty acids from somewhere. And you can get them from vegetables. You can get them from lettuce. Romaine lettuce has omega-3 fatty acids in it. Nuts have omega-3 fatty acids in it. Flax seeds have omega-3 fatty acids in it. But the body then has to convert the ALA form of it into the DHA and the EPA. This has chlorella and spirulina. If the world ever figured out that we could live on chlorella and spirulina, most of the world's problems would be resolved. We'd stop deforestation, we'd stop killing animals, we'd save a ton of money, we'd probably all live longer, but who wants to eat algae? Is the problem. But algae really is the ultimate superfood. It has omega-3 fatty acids in it, it has all the nutrients in it, a lot of nutrients that you're not going to get anywhere else, so that's why I put chlorella and spirulina in here as well. So I take the Super Greens, the essential source, every day. You should too. All right. We got time. Okay. When you eat too much, your digestive system can't work properly. Digestive system can't work properly. One of the problems we have is an elimination problem. We can't go to the bathroom. And if we get constipated, the toxins that are dumped into our small intestine can be reabsorbed back into the body. One of the issues we have with cholesterol patients is that many times high cholesterol patients are constipated and their gallbladder is cholesterol breaks down, creates bile, squirts into the small intestine, and it's supposed to be flushed out. If you're not flushing it out, that gets reabsorbed again. So the bowel should move 2 to 3 times a day. A day. Not a week, not a month. A patient come in the other day, 5 weeks, and she had a bowel function. She said, I can't eat, I'm bloated, I'm sick. She was like crazed in her eyes, and I said, yeah, I don't blame you. That stuff's got to come out. Okay? So that's why I created something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser. Stuff works great. I would recommend 1 pill if your bowels aren't moving 2 to 3 times a day. See how you do the next day. Take it at night before you go to bed. If it's not working, take 2 the next day. If it's not working, take 3 the next day. Don't take more than 3. Trust me. I had a patient take 6. Got mad at me. So you have to put food, yeah.
You take that in the evening.
I take it in the evening. Yeah, I would recommend taking it in the evening. Okay, in the evening, this way in the morning, everything should be working. Drink some water with it too. You know, at least a glass of water with it too. Now again, you may wake up and pee. For us old guys, you know, wake up and pee a lot. I like to stop drinking a lot of fluid around 3 o'clock in the afternoon because then I don't have to wake up and pee. Make sense? Desserts, not a good idea. We all like our sweets, our dulces. Okay, if you have to have something sweet, have yourself a cup of tea with some stevia in it. Works great for curbing those sugar cravings. Because people say, I have my sugar cravings, I don't know what to do. Stevia is great. Now you can buy it in packets, which is good. I like to buy it in bulk. Now if you go buy it in bulk, you're going to see the price and your brain is going to explode. It's about $78 a pound. Now that being said, you couldn't use a pound of stevia in a lifetime. Okay? So put a little bit in a plastic bag like this, add maybe like the size of a big fingernail full. Start with that. But if you're having no sugar cravings, a cup of tea, herbal teas, of course, with a little bit of stevia in it, you'll be amazed how that cuts the sugar cravings just totally. And that solves the problem. The reason I like the bulk stuff is sometimes they'll cut the pure, it's so sweet. The stuff in the packets is cut, and it's cut with maltodextrin. Maltodextrin comes from corn, and many times is genetically modified. And that's a whole nother lecture that we don't have time to get into tonight. Bottom line is don't eat genetically modified foods. Okay? Cover everything I wanted to, not only yourself, okay. Another trick, if you want to do it, is write down what you eat. If you ever wrote down what you eat, you'd be disgusted. Most people, because every patient that comes in, I give them a diet diary and have them write down what they're eating. When they write down what they're eating, they'll always come in and everybody says the same thing. It's funny. 30 years I've been doing this. Everybody says the same thing. This wasn't a good week. And I say, I know. Of course it wasn't a good week. No one's ever had a good week. 30 years, no one said, Doc, I ate awesome this week. Look at this. So, not a good thing. Now, I want to go back to high fructose corn syrup for a second because we talked about leptin. And leptin is a hormone released in your stomach, goes into your hypothalamus, and it makes you feel full. There's also a hormone called ghrelin, another fun word, like gremlin almost, but ghrelin. It's produced in your small intestine, and it tells you that you're hungry. Okay? So what happens is when you eat high fructose corn syrup, it shuts down partially, or it could be totally, I guess, the production of leptin, but increases the production of ghrelin. So what happens? You get hungry. So when you're eating high fructose corn syrup, it makes you hungry. Want to eat more. One of the problems with artificial sweeteners, study after study after study comes out. People that use artificial sweetener, drink artificial sweetener drinks, usually gain weight. Because the body senses something sweet, taste buds say, that tastes sweet, I better start making insulin. I gotta make my pancreas do its job. You produce insulin, there's no sugar. The insulin's floating around the blood going, I was told to get out here and do my job, where is everybody? And then the body starts craving carbohydrates. And then you start eating the bad foods, the breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, and pastas. So, artificial sweetener worst, high fructose corn syrup worst, next, agave nectar, high fructose corn syrup, sugar, stevia. So stevia would be the best. The problem's solved. Years ago we didn't have stevia. I remember when we tried getting stevia into the United States, 20 years ago, whatever it was. Oh my gosh, oh, it's not safe, nobody knows, it's going to be dangerous, it's going to kill people. It's been used in Japan, it's been used in South America for decades, probably hundreds of years. No problem. But in America, we were different. And a lot of sweetener companies fought it, they lost, stevia made the market, and now, guess who owns Truvia and Purevia? Coke and Pepsi. We win. We won that battle. So stevia is fine. I like the pure stuff. Like I said, it's not cut. Okay? So surviving the holidays is not hard. Oh, I got to cover stomach. Cover stomach. Both ears. It's your fault. So no, yes.
Where do you get the bulk stevia?
I got over here. It's in the bulk section. Okay. A little bit of time though, please. Don't use a teaspoon of it. You'll get sick. Okay. Yes.
My daughter has an enormous stevia shrub.
Yes.
What, do you dry the leaves?
Dry the leaves, grind them up. Yeah. If you've never tasted stevia, the leaves are about maybe the size of your pinky fingernail, right? Next time you're at one of the big big Home Depot stores or something like that, they'll have it in the garden section. Go to the garden section, they sell it now. It grows like a weed. Like you said, it grows like a weed. And just take a leaf off and chew on it. You'll be amazed how sweet it is. It's really kind of cool. Then you can grow your own too. Okay. So that's good stuff. So let me talk about stomachs and eating too much, because I'd say about 85% of my patients, when they come into the office, have some type of digestive problem. Gas, bloating, diarrhea, acid reflux, chronic cough, chronic sinusitis, because the acid is coming up, irritating the throat, it can irritate the sinuses. And I would say 85% of my patients have digestive problems and 15% lie. Because everybody's got something, you don't talk about it. It's not good party conversation, is it? It's a little gassy. No. So, but everybody's got digestive problems, because think how amazing your stomach is. You can take a double cheeseburger on white bread that doesn't go bad ever. With an artificially processed cheese food spread. It wasn't a cow in a room when that stuff was made. And then you take it with high fructose corn syrup ketchup and you eat it. And you don't chew it very well, you swallow it whole, as most people do. And your stomach has to take this and break it down and produce eye tissue, or gallbladder, or liver, or toenail. So your body's so amazing that it can take this junk and you can survive. Not thrive, but survive. So your body's pretty amazing. So we really beat up our digestive systems. And so what happens is the digestive system eventually is going to say, can't do it anymore. And that's when you have the acid reflux and the bloating. But we usually have, as you eat a big meal, the stomach starts to push up against the diaphragm. Diaphragm is a sheet of muscle here. Every time you breathe, the diaphragm drops. And every time you exhale, the diaphragm goes up. That's why you breathe. As your diaphragm drops, you're sucking air in like a vacuum. If I want to exhale, my diaphragm pushes it out. That's it. That's breathing. And then your rib muscles can help too. But up and down. So if the stomach is up against the diaphragm can't go down. It gets stuck. And then you have things like sleep apnea, snoring. Not saying it's the only cause, but certainly a major cause. Acid reflux, burping, gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation, brain fog, because the food isn't digested properly. Undigested food gets into the small intestine, creates something called leaky gut syndrome. The food can actually tear holes in your intestine. And then big chunks of food get absorbed into your blood system, your immune system attacks it. That's a whole other lecture on leaky gut. So don't eat too much, is the bottom line, because it can cause some real serious problems. So if you're having any of those symptoms, it's a good idea to get it fixed. Let me pull your stomach away from the diaphragm, massage it down, and you'll be fascinated how much better you feel. I have patients come in from all over the world, and they'll say, this is just amazing. I've had this problem for years. Antacids. Antacids can help shut down stomach acid, but you need stomach acid. Antacids can prevent you from absorbing calcium, magnesium, and B12. Well, that's kind of important, isn't it? Yeah. So the drug can have side effects. I'm not against drugs. I'm not against surgery. If there's a way to fix it without the drugs and surgery, that's what I like to do. And I've had patients come in. We get amazing results. Back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, car accident cases. If your head snaps around, you tear muscles. We got to get those to heal. Amazing results. Every now and then a case comes in and I have to co-manage it with one of my colleagues. Endocrinologists, neurologists, neurosurgeons, vascular surgeons, orthopedic surgeons. We co-manage the cases. I had a patient come to me about 27 years ago. She said, the doctor says I need a hip replacement. It's okay. So I worked with her. 26 years later, she said, it's time for my surgery. And I said, oh man, kind of bummer. She said, no, it's not a bummer. She said, you kept this hip in me for 26 years. She says, that's amazing. And she says, I understand, I want you to work on me because I want to get as healthy as I can going into the surgery and as healthy as I can coming out of the surgery. Called up her surgeon, we talked, we chatted. He said, you're Dr. Joe, man. Whatever you say, I'm going to tell her to do. We worked on it, and she went through the surgery. She did amazing. The doctor said, even for a woman her age, no one ever recuperates that fast. So it's kind of cool. So it really does work if you get the nervous system working, the digestive system working, and good nutrition. It's not hard, it's easy, if you know how. Any questions? I could be done, yes. I try to get you guys out of here, so yes.
When you're talking about being vegan, you can still eat bad processed food? Okay, so if you had a choice like between a organic turkey and like a turkey, which
Okay.
is better?
Good question. What would be like an organic turkey or a tofu turkey? I would choose the tofu turkey.
Why?
Well, we don't have the enzymes to break down animal products that we should. Okay. Also, it's high in uric acid. Uric acid can get into the joints. It's high in methionine and cysteine, which can convert to homocysteine, which can cause cholesterol to stick to the artery walls. I mean, that's a whole lecture on why I don't eat meat. But if I had to choose between one or the other, I'd eat the tofu turkey as opposed to meat turkey, even if it was organic. Okay.
What is about cranberry juice that's good for your kidneys? Do you know what the ingredient is in cranberry?
You know, I didn't know it one time. I think you stumped me. You got a prize.
Yeah.
So,
A doctor told me years ago that cranberry juice was better than a prescription if you get the diet cranberry juice. Problem is, diet cranberry juice is loaded with
artificial sweetener, yeah. He said the diet cranberry juice is better than the regular cranberry juice. The best thing is just get the pure cranberry juice and add stevia to it, or drink it straight. Yeah, but there's something that prevents the bacteria from sticking to the artery
I don't
walls.
think I've ever seen pure cranberry juice on the counter.
Oh, yeah.
No, they have it in health food stores yet. It's expensive, but it tastes awful. Yeah.
What about raw honey? Honey was good for you.
Honey is still high in fructose. If you're going to do honey, you want to make sure it's raw, you want to make sure it's organic. But honey is okay if you use a very little amount. But again, that's contributing to your fructose intake.
How about beans? They cause gas and, things like
Beans,
that.
if beans are causing gas with you, that can be an issue. What you can do, there's a sugar in beans called raffinose. And raffinose, when the bacteria in your colon eat it, they give off the gases. So what you want to do is help digest those sugars and proteins more efficiently. So if you're going to eat beans, you can do something called raw organic apple cider vinegar. Take about 2 tablespoons of that with your beans, and you're going to find you digest it a lot better. And or you can take digestive enzymes. My German grandmother, she used to make a lot of bean soups and split pea soups, and she used to put apple cider vinegar in it. I asked her one time when I was a kid, totally innocently, why do you do that? She goes, I don't know. But at the time, everything was raw organic apple cider vinegar. You know, this is when I was a kid, 100 years ago. And so what happens is, they knew why, they didn't know how. Okay? Was it they knew how and not why? Yeah, that was it. That's it, yeah. They didn't understand why it worked. They just knew if they put it in there, they didn't get gas with it. So that'd work too. Okay? Yes?
What are your thoughts on bee pollen?
Bee pollen is good. I don't think you should make it part of your diet. I mean, you can get nutrients from other sources, but bee pollen is a very good source of nutrients. Yes?
How about nutritional yeast?
Nutritional yeast, awesome. Love it. Use it every day. Okay? B vitamins, amino acids, it rocks. And tastes great too.
Medjool dates.
Medjool dates are good, but still high in sugar. So just be careful with that. Yes?
How about the pits? I just had that the other day. What about the pits? You know, some pits have toxins in it. Like they say some fruits you shouldn't eat
Right.
the seeds or the...
Yeah, I wouldn't eat the pits from medjool dates. Now, new thing, this is cool now, avocado pits. That's the new like health food craze. You can take the avocado pits, cut them up, and then grind them up into a powder and use it in your food. Yeah, so
You said that you have a bowel movement 2 to 3 times a day.
That's
And
normal.
you said to take, like, I guess your example, I think, was for somebody who didn't go at all, they should take 1 to 2 or 3 tabs at night and then they'll go in the morning. If you're going once a day already, how do you get yourself up to 2 to 3
you
times?
could use these as well. You could do Dr. Joe's intestinal cleanser.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Good question.
Is there anything you can do or eat that will increase your leptin?
Anything that'll increase your leptin. You know, in fact, this was interesting because leptin was discovered pretty recently. And everybody thought, oh my God, this is great. I can inject leptin into the patients and they won't get hungry anymore. Makes sense, right? Well, the problem is you become leptin resistant. If you put too much leptin in, the brain cells say, stop it, I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm not going to listen to any of you anymore. And you become leptin resistant. So the only way to increase your leptin is to make sure your digestive system is working properly. And you make sure your digestive system is working properly by eating mostly raw fruits and vegetables, making sure your stomach isn't up against your diaphragm, checking the nerve supply from the spine to the digestive system. But there's nothing that I know of as a supplement that would increase leptin, no. Only yourself, yeah.
You mentioned the
Pedometer.
Where do you get those?
Any Walmart, Kmart, yeah, everybody carries them.
Because I've only heard about the apps.
Oh, no, it's old-fashioned, very old-fashioned. Doesn't apply to a phone. And doesn't even take a battery. Does it? I don't know. Yes. Yeah, they do take batteries. Okay, yeah. Okay, and you just put it on there and it counts your steps. But it's usually about, like a quarter of the size of a pager, if you're old enough to remember what a pager looked like. It's about a quarter of the size of that. Okay? Anybody else old enough to remember pagers?
What about the Fitbits that you wear on your arm?
I've tested them on my patients and it makes them go weak. So yeah, so I don't know anything, I don't know about electromagnetic frequencies or anything like that. I just know it makes the patients go weak when they wear them. Yes?
How about electric blankets?
A what?
Electric blankets.
No, never sleep under an electric blanket. Absolutely, positively horrible. If you have to warm up your bed, plug the blanket in, heat up the bed, unplug it. Don't just shut it off, unplug it, and that might be a better choice. Okay, but I would never use an electric blanket. No, you're wrapping your body in electromagnetic fields. I mean, I've had to go, there's an app you can get, it's called the Gauss meter. And you get a Gauss meter and it'll measure how much electromagnetic frequency there is. And it's actually an app for your phone. And it's really the coolest thing. You can download it, it's free. And you just put it next to your alarm clock, you know, your digital alarm clock, it's a goes crazy. And you can actually walk along your walls. And you can find out what electrical wires are. And some people just, I tell them to move their beds away from their walls. Because electromagnetic frequencies can be affecting your sleep. More questions?
When you did that demonstration with the young lady there, where you took her cell phone and what exactly was happening?
Whenever you put, drunk? Dropping things here. When you put an electromagnetic field into your electromagnetic field, you have a field around you. Okay, we can use Kerrlian photography and actually picture your field around you. And so if you have an electrical field and you put an electrical field in you that doesn't resonate with your electrical field, it can actually, for a second, short circuit your electric field. And so that's what we do.
So it just made her muscles.
Made the whole body go weak, yeah. And that works for everything. It's really cool. It works if you can test jewelry, you can test phones, you can test food, and you can test people. I've had couples come in and test us. I ain't getting involved.
What do you suggest guys carry their cell phones?
And their wives, bras. That's a problem, yeah. And then never, ladies, I mean, we joke about that, but they have bras now with cell phone holders in them. So I carry it in my pocket. If I keep it in my hand, if I can, I put it in the car, I get in my office, I take it out, I put it there. If I have to walk around with it, I put it in a pocket. I try to put it in a jacket pocket if I can. The further away from your body, the better. Okay? I mean, sometimes you have to carry it. It is what it is. But, I mean, I carry it in my back pocket. Because we've done studies now, electromagnetic frequencies can slow down sperm production and sperm mobility. Not that I want to make babies, but I don't want to mess with anything either. So at least the back pocket is. So, yes. More questions? Yes.
So I do guided meditations on my phone, using my phone quite frequently. Does that, you know, can that negatively impact?
As long as it's away from your body. If you ever read the, okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
And
but if you ever read the instructions on your phone, it'll say in the instructions, don't put it next to your head. It's in the instructions. That book you never read? It's in there. Yeah.
And how far should it be away from your body? Like, I don't know, like how many feet?
The
should it
further
be
the better.
away?
On the phone, they say at least, was it 2 inches or 3 inches away from the head? I forget what the instructions
And
are.
like about how much should not be within your electromagnetic field?
If you put it this far away, you're going to be fine.
You're good,
Okay.
What about a regular phone?
Those are okay, but not the cordless. Cordless have the same thing. It's got to be a wired phone. That's when people, I got a phone conference today. A person called me on my cell phone. I said, let me call you back on my landline. And that was it. Problem solved. I could talk all day on those. They don't have a problem. More stuff? Yes. Oh. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay, no.
I've heard of there's cases for cell phones that
Perfect,
block
yeah.
all the stuff you.
I've seen them. In fact, somebody gave me on my cell phone a thing you could stick on the back of it. It's supposed to cut it by like 80%. I put it on there. I had one of my doctors test me. I still blew out. So the case is probably a good idea. I'm not sure it's a great idea. I'm not sure it's a perfect idea. Next question.
Okay, one time I was
One time in band camp. Okay.
well, I had an avocado and a banana.
Yes.
And I had the worst acid.
Acid reflux, yeah. Okay.
Is that like bad?
It was probably just a lot of sugars and fats all mixed together, yeah, so it probably wasn't a good idea. Okay.
Well, I knew you say something. Is it mango? One of the fruits was say like eat it alone or. Is that something?
Melons.
Melons.
Melons,
Like,
eat
is
them
there
alone.
something like that with other
It
fruits?
probably is. I don't know that about bananas and avocados specifically, but melons break down very quickly. And that's why you don't want to mix them with other food, because melons break down about 20 minutes around your stomach. You throw a piece of steak in there, it's going to sit there for 6 hours, and those carbohydrates will ferment in your stomach and actually produce an alcohol. What? The melon's all water mostly anyway, but that's so much, it's broken down so quickly, it has to be cast out quickly, yeah.
What about when you see those pink rock lamps?
Ah, yes, the ones that put negative ions out. I guess they work, like the salt rock, the Himalayan salt rocks. I guess they work. I mean, I've never measured ions. I don't know how to measure ions in the air. I'm sure there's some way to do it. I don't think they're bad. I don't see anything bad about them, so if you want to have a pretty pink light in your house, I guess it's okay. All right, so here's, all right, one more.
If you wanted to use like fix cookies or cakes or something that had sugar in it, have you tried using the stevia in place of sugar?
You got to be careful if you're going to do that. There's cookbooks out there that teach you how to do it, because number one, stevia doesn't have as much bulk. So you have to replace something to fix up that bulk. Usually applesauce works well. Does it work? Yes, it does, but you get a recipe before you try it on your own. Somebody's figured it out for you already.